What if the reason that you stopped showing up wasn't laziness? What if it wasn't that you didn't care enough, want it enough, or work hard enough? What if the real reason that you went quiet, stopped posting, stopped trying, stopped starting over was something older and sneakier than any of that? Something that you may have not said out loud. Guess what? It's called shame. And today, we're dragging shame into the light. Welcome to MiNDSHiFT Monday, where we don't just talk motivation, we train perspective. I'm your man, your buddy, your friend, Robert Kennedy III, RK3, that's me. And we are staying deep in Confidence Month because today I want to talk about the thing that blocks confidence more than anything. Most people won't even name this. So this show is for the leader who keeps starting and stopping, the builder who commits loudly and then goes quiet, the person doing something hard, 75 hard, and feeling alone in their struggle. If that's you, you are exactly where you need to be today. Let's go, Milton Dodd. What is going on? What's happening? Let me know. Are y'all hearing an echo of some sort? Let me just double check. All right, well, if you are not hearing an echo, all right, well, I guess it's just me. Somebody let me know if you're hearing an echo. Let me know. Good morning, Danny Kirk Lewis. Good morning, C. Marie B. Milton Dodd. What is going on with you? How you doing today? How you doing? All right, let's rock and roll. Let's do this thing. Let's see what we've got. Okay, all right. Before we dive in today, remember that the after show is on Zoom right after this. Given what we're talking about today, it's gonna be real. Come ready to be honest. Come join us in the community after for the MiNDSHiFT Monday. Head on over to MiNDSHiFTmonday.com/Zoom. All right, that's where our home base is for that. And then if you want to go live, if you want to know when we're going live, text live to 240-557-8679. All right. Also, last thing, and this is crucial, this is critical, this is important. If you have ever said anything interesting, or you felt like you don't have anything interesting to say, or maybe you have other people who have dramatic backstories, wild pivots, near-death moments, but you just have a career, a life, Tuesday mornings and quarterly reviews. If you feel like you're not being heard in meetings and pitches and content and conversations that you'd be converting, if you have real expertise and hard-won wisdom, but you feel like it's being drowned out, not because you've got nothing to say, but because no one ever taught you what makes people lean in, then join me on March 26th for the Story Vault Remix, where we're going to crack open the vault of stories that you've been sitting on your entire life. Because that dramatic moment that you've been waiting for, oh, you've already lived it. And you may have walked right past it. Head on over to storyvaultremix.com, March 26th. Lock in your seat. Yes. See you there. All right, let's do this show. Y'all. Last week we talked about confidence and how it's built through repetition. Repetition with the expectation of success. But here's the thing that I didn't say yet. There's a force that stops repetition in its tracks. And it's been operating your life longer than you know. So today we're going to name that thing. Let's do this thing. Let's shift. Yeah. Bam. All right. Let's jump on in. Hey, y'all. Marjorie Benjamin, good to see you. Dr. Lorenda, so good to see you. Regina Howard Norman, 1303. So glad that you're here. Good to see y'all this morning. Again, my dude, Milton Dodd. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. We are on LinkedIn. And I believe we're on Substack. Oh, maybe. Are we not on? Yes, I believe we're on Substack. Oh, I don't know. Maybe we're not. I think I missed a step. Yeah, that's all right. We'll figure it out. All right. Hey, y'all, listen. We are getting ready to jump on in. But before we jump on in, let me ask you this question. And I want you to answer for me, have you ever committed to something publicly and then quietly disappeared when you struggled? Come on, drop that in the chat. Yes or no? Have you ever committed to something publicly and then quietly disappeared when you struggled? Just yes or no. You don't have to explain. No explanation needed this morning. Just yes or no. Okay. Yep. I see a couple of yeses already. Yes. 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 Yeah. Beautiful minds math. Good to see you. M. Vukovic. Good to see you this morning. Yeah. Here's what I want you to understand. You're not alone. And what I want you to understand by the end of today is why that happens and what to do about it. What to do about it. All right. So here's what brought me to this topic this week. I'm in the middle of 75 hard right now. Yeah, we're on day 37. We are right at the halfway point. And if you don't know what 75 hard is, it is a mental toughness program, right? It's a strict diet. You choose the diet. Okay. 2 workouts a day, 75, not 75, a gallon of water, reading 10 pages, no alcohol, take a progress photo daily, every single day for 75 days. No exceptions. So when I decided that I was going to do this, I've done it before. I did it in 2024. And when I decided I was going to do it, I put it out to our community. Yeah, I put it out to our community. And I do this because it inspires me. It motivates me. It pushes me further than when I'm trying to do things by myself. Community is helpful. Okay. So I put this out to our community and quite a few people said, yes, I'm ready to do this. I need this. I need to jump in. I need to get rocking and rolling. I'm at a valley in my life. I need to pick me up. I'm ready. I want to make a change. And so we built a group. We all agreed not just to do it, but to post about it, to hold each other accountable publicly. And here's what happened. Some people posted every day, especially in the beginning, right? Day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5. People were walking, people were lifting weights, people were exercising, and they were posting about it. And then some people went quiet. No matter if I tagged them, called them out, some people just went quiet. Now, for those of you that are still a part of the 75 Hard group that are watching this right now, this is not about judgment, what I'm about to say next, at all. Life happens. Intensity surprises you, right? Schedules blow up. I get it. Here is what fascinated me. When I reached out to the people who went quiet, so many of them said the same thing or some version of the same thing. I felt so bad. I couldn't do it. I miscalculated my schedule. I didn't think it would be busy. I just felt so bad. And then I felt bad about feeling bad. And so I just stopped. Yeah. Is that any of you? Has that ever happened to you? You've committed to something and you mess up or you fall off and then you feel bad and then you feel bad about feeling bad. And so you just stop. And then there were other people who missed a day and came back to the group and said, hey, y'all, oh my gosh, I messed up. I got to start over. Because that's the thing about this 75 hard thing, right? Once you stop or once you miss something, you don't just pick up the next day. You start over from day 1. So some people said, hey, y'all, I messed up. I missed it. I can't believe it. I'm starting over. Same struggle, 2 different responses. So here's what I want to ask you. What's the difference there? What's the difference between these 2 groups of people? And I I'm really hoping that those who are in the 75 hard group that are watching today are staying with me on this. I hope you're watching and you're staying with me on this and you're not taking this personally, because this is a deep dive into all of us. Here's the difference between those two people. These two words, guilt and shame. Guilt and shame. Sometimes we mix them up and they're not the same thing. They're different. Guilt is different than shame. And here's where most people get this wrong, right? And I mean most people who use those words like they're the same thing. Guilt says, I did something bad. Shame says, I am bad. I'll say that one more time so you get this, and then we're going to dive into it. Guilt says, I did something bad, or I didn't do something good. Shame says, I am bad, or I'm not good. Okay, maybe you're like, I'm not saying those words to myself. Okay, here's what that looks like in real life. You're on a diet. You commit to a diet. Maybe you commit to it with your friends, a group of friends. You eat something that you weren't supposed to eat. Okay, in the 75 hard journey, my diet is I'm doing no processed sugars and I'm doing intermittent fasting. Okay, you're in this diet and you eat something that you're not supposed to eat. When you eat that thing that you're not supposed to eat, either by mistake or just because you did it, you feel guilty. You feel guilty. And when you feel guilty, you call yourself out. It's like, oh my gosh, I shouldn't have eaten that. Or maybe you even tell somebody, I was not supposed to eat that. And you say, hey, you know what? I messed up. Boom. Let me get back on track. And you do. Guilt points at the behavior and it says that step was wrong. And because it points at the behavior and not at you, you do something about it. Now, here's what shame looks like. Same scenario, but instead of calling it out, you go quiet. You don't bring it up unless somebody else does. And we start rationalizing and we start saying, oh my gosh, I've always been this way. Or why do I always overcommit? Or why does this always happen to me? Or why can't I get this right? I can't just get myself together. And then you fill your schedule with other things so that you don't have to think about the thing that you're hiding from. Sound familiar? I've done it. I've done it. I've messed up some stuff and I've not done what I committed to in my business. And because I didn't do that, then I fill my calendar with other stuff. I start doing community service and I start doing all these different things. So I don't have to think about the thing that I am hiding from. This is not a you thing. This is, I've experienced this. I've done this. And here's the trap. The more that you replay that shame in silence, the less you do about it, right? The more you focus on creating an excuse, the more you create on, the more you decide to push something away, the more that you're focused on hiding it, the less that you do about it, because you're so focused on hiding it that taking action on it would mean admitting that it exists. But here's the thing. Shame doesn't motivate, it paralyzes. I want to give you two perspectives on this. I don't know how many of you are Bible readers. I am, but so I'm going to give you a biblical example. Okay. And then I'll come to something a little bit more modern. So here's the oldest shame story in recorded history. The oldest shame story recorded in recorded history is Adam and Eve in the garden. Okay, so Adam and Eve, they're in this garden, this beautiful garden that was created for them. And they've been given everything in the garden and they're told, okay, you can have anything you want, just don't touch that one thing. So they live in this garden. I don't know how long they live there, but they're looking at this one thing that they can't have. Or they're not that they can't have, but they're told not to make that choice. So they make a choice. They eat this fruit, and their immediate response was not guilt. Their immediate response wasn't, oh no, I ate the fruit. What do I need to do? Their immediate response was shame. They began to look at each other differently. Oh my gosh. They covered themselves. They saw themselves differently. And so when they heard God coming for their normal afternoon walk together, what did they do? They hid. They ran away. Now think about this. Think about this. Think about this. This is their friend, their daily connection. They had walks in the garden. They walked and talked and they just chilled and they hung out and they looked at the birds and they looked at the lake and the rivers. They did all this stuff together. They laughed. They played cards. They played Uno. They did all this stuff together daily. And now all of a sudden, they hid from their friend. Why'd they do that? Because shame made them run from the very relationship that could have helped them. Right? And so God comes looking for them, not because he didn't know where they were. And he asks, and he says, why are you hiding? Why are you hiding? Where are you? And so finally now they're like, oh my gosh, in their brains are saying, we did something. We did something. And not only did we not want you to know that we did it, we ascribed that to our bodies. We began to see ourselves differently. We began to look at each other in a way that we had not looked at each other yesterday. And it didn't feel good. So we decided to get these leaves and these things and cover ourselves up to hide. Because they were ashamed. Because they felt shame. Shame causes us to hide and run away. And not want to reveal to our family, to our friends, to our people, to those around us in community that we're struggling with this thing. And check this out. So he asks them, why are you hiding? And they're like, oh, well, we were naked. And I want you to hear this part. It's only when they begin to answer questions. It's only when they begin to start talking about what happened that something shifts. As they begin to name what they did, we did this thing. We were deceived. Right, they're blaming each other and all of that stuff. And then they blame the serpent. They're doing all that stuff. But it's only as they begin to talk about it that they then position themselves to receive what they need to move forward, right? Because if you're ashamed, then you stay hidden. Imagine if, like little kids do sometimes, right? Some kids, they do something wrong and then you call them and what do? They don't say anything. They ignore you. They hide. They run away. Right? And they could have decided, you know what, he's there. We're not going to answer. We're going to run away. And shame could have kept them hidden. But vulnerability brought them back. And they answer, right? And so they answer, and what happens is that they have this conversation and he shares with them that there's a consequence. There's still something that they've got to go through because they made this decision. But then this stuff that he gives that they had used to cover themselves up because they were naked, he gives them something better. He gives them something better, right? So they wouldn't have gotten that better because right now they feel naked, they feel exposed, they feel vulnerable. And just because he says, yay, here's something, that doesn't take away the feeling that they have. But until they can get better, he gives them something better to still cover themselves up a little bit with, right? And that's what community does. When you mess up, when you fall off, when you skip, when you misstep, Community doesn't take away the consequences of the skip. What they do is give you a better covering while you're making your way back. You've still got to take the first step. You've got to take the step to respond. You got to take the step to show up. You got to take the step to say, you know what, I messed up. I'm going to post. I'm going to put my picture. I'm going to say, hey, y'all, hey, guys, I'm still here. I need a little bit of help. I'm starting over today. Let's look at today real quick. Oh my gosh, we're running out of time. Brené Brown, researcher, spent over 2 decades studying the dynamic of shame versus guilt. And she says that shame is this intensely painful feeling or experience of believing that we are flawed and therefore unworthy of love, belonging, and connection. Right? And notice it's not about what you did. Shame is about what you believe that you are. Shame relates to identity because you feel like you are a certain way. You feel like people see you a certain way, and so therefore you hide. And so she found that shame thrives in secrecy, silence, and judgment. And the moment that one thing happens, it begins to lose its power. The moment that there's empathy, shame begins to lose its power. The moment that someone says, me too, I've been there, it begins to lose its power, right? So if you want to go deeper on this, I encourage you to go to her TED Talk. It's called Listening to Shame. You can you can just Google it, tedtalk.com, Brené Brown, Listening to Shame, okay? It's about 20 minutes, and it's going to change how you see yourself, right? So here's the identity piece I want you to hold. The people who went quiet in my group or the people who came back aren't different in discipline or desire. They want the same thing. They're just different in what they did when they stumbled. How do you respond when you stumble? Shame keeps you hidden. Guilt, acknowledging it, still feeling guilty, keeps you moving. Here's the deal. When you go to court, right? You get a speeding ticket. The judge asks you, guilty or not guilty? And the purpose of them asking you guilty or not guilty is for you to admit what you've done and get better and move on. Be restored, be rectified. They don't say, are you ashamed or are you not ashamed? Because shame keeps you hidden. Shame keeps you from coming to court. Shame keeps you running away. Shame keeps you as a fugitive. Guilt says, oh my gosh, I didn't do the right thing. Let me step forward, right? So your old belief today, when I mess up, the safest thing to do is to go quiet and disappear. That's your old belief. That's your shame belief. But here's your new belief. When I mess up, I name it and I move from shame back to confidence. Because remember, confidence is repetition. Confidence is repetition. And I can become confident in shame if I keep repeating shame. But if I repeat guilt, or if guilt says, hey, I acknowledge I did this and I'm going to get better. The more that I do that, the more I become confident in getting better or moving towards my desire. That's the shift. That's a shift. We shift from hiding as protection to naming something as power. Guilt is not your enemy. Guilt is actually a launching pad. It says I took the wrong step and I can make a better one. Shame says you are the wrong step, and that's a lie. That's a lie. So here are your 3 actions for this week. Here are your 3 actions and your 3 experiments this week. These aren't homework. I want you to move and I want you to take these on and try them. Number 1, here we go. We only got about 3 minutes before we jump into the after show. When you stumble this week, I want you to notice, we all stumble. I want you to notice the voice that shows up. Is it saying you did something wrong, or is it saying you are wrong? Just notice it. Just notice it. Okay? Are you asking yourself, why does this always happen to me? Why can't I get this right? Or are you saying, oops, that was a misstep? Okay, that's number one. Notice your response. Number two, name your challenge. Name your misstep. Say it out loud. Come back to the group. Come back to the chat. Come back to your accountability partner. Say it out loud. I messed up. Not I am a mess up. I messed up and I'm starting over. That sentence, those 6 words, is how you move from shame back into guilt and from guilt back into action, right? Adam and Eve got free. They got free. They started the journey to freedom when they started talking, when they said, oh my gosh, we're naked. We were hiding. This is why we were hiding. I don't want you to miss that part of the story. They get free when they move from the hiding into the revealing. Same is true for you. Number 3, reclaim your identity this week. Write down who you are, not what you've done. I'm someone committed to building a strong body. I'm somebody that is committed to building a 7-figure business. I'm someone who shows up. Shame attacks identity, but you fight back by knowing what yours is. Yeah. Listen, if today hit you, and I think it did, I want you to join me in the after show where we slow this down and we get real. I want you to bring your real situation. What is something that you've been carrying quietly? Let's process it together in real time, right? That's what this community is for. All right, head on over to MiNDSHiFTMonday.com/Zoom. Come through. MiNDSHiFTMonday.com/Zoom. Join us in the after show. And don't forget about the Story Vault Remix. Head on over to storyvaultremix.com. Find out more and grab your seat. Hey, y'all, listen, I want to leave you with this. The people who stayed in the 75 hard group and the people who disappeared didn't have different levels of strength. They just had different relationships with their own struggle. And I'm not pointing them out or singling them out. We've all had moments where we commit to something and we fall off. It's how we deal with the stumble that makes the difference. Are you letting your stumble define you, or are you letting your stumble inform you? Guilt says, here's information, now move. Shame says, here's your identity, now hide. Listen, don't hide. Name it. Come back. Start again. That's not weakness. That's just practice. A shifted mind creates a changed week. Listen, my friends, until next time, stay curious, stay grounded, and keep shifting your mindset so that you can shift your life. Said another way, change your thoughts, change your world, change your story. Peace out, family.